Hi, I'm Lee from Charles Sturt University, and today we are going to talk about acoustic tagging of fish. We've got partners here from AusVet and we've got partners from New South Wales DPI, and today we're going to go through the process of what the equipment is, right through to surgery and to recover the fish. So acoustic tagging is a process by tracking fish up and down river systems. It's very different to other techniques like radio tagging or pit tagging. It's a very invasive technique in that we have to perform surgery on fish, so there's quite a bit of complexity around this, and we're going to go through the different complex stages of the process today. There's really three types of components of equipment that we were dealing with today. There's the equipment that we deploy in the field and the fish themselves. There's the surgery setup here, which is required to actually do the surgery on the fish. We also have some automated data processing and computer systems that are needed to actually program some of the equipment today. So we'll go through each of those three steps now in process. The first critical part of acoustic tracking is the equipment we'll actually deploy in the field and the tags we'll insert in the fish. And Jason will give us a run through of that different components now.
Yeah, okay, so we've got a range of different tags of shapes and sizes depending on the specific deployment and the species of interest. So the general concept is that these tags are attached to a fish either internally or externally depending on the species and the application and the environment that that fish lives in. So these tags work, basically they're set up on a pre-programmed ping rate. So basically we've got two forms of tracking. We've got active tracking, and so we've got a tag that has a continuous ping rate, and the purpose of that is so that in real time you can follow a tagged individual through whichever environment that you're looking at tracking its movements in. And then we've got a coded or a delayed ping rate, where basically we're looking at passive tracking, where we've got a submerged receiver that decodes each individual tag through a network of rivers or in the ocean that stores information as that fish is within detection range, and that's what we call our passive tracking. Both techniques rely on the transmission of the acoustic signals through the water that's decoded by a hydrophone. So this is a VR100. The purpose of this is basically an active tracking system. So we've got a hydrophone that we submerge in the water. You can see here that we've got a continuous tag. In this concept it would be in a fish. It's just transmitting that information through air at the moment, decoded by this receiver, and it has a continuous ping rate that means that we can actively follow a fish through a river system. So we talked about passive tracking, which is basically we've got a tag that's implanted in a fish that is on a delay. It's decoded by this receiver. We've got an example here of a Vemco VR2W. This is a submerged receiver, has a hydrophone and a whole bunch of circuitry inside. It's run basically powered by a battery. So we'll go through a little bit later the field deployment of these receivers. They're both very similar in terms of their operation or their function in terms of decoding tags in fish. The difference is this has an acoustic release. So this VR2W requires us to actually retrieve the unit. In this case, we can actually activate an acoustic release, a remote release from this, and it can actually float to the surface and we can download the information or retrieve the receiver itself.
So the second part of the acoustic tracking process is inserting the tags into the fish. And here we have Ian and Brendan who will go through some of the aspects of the surgery itself. So Ian and Brendan, can you please explain what's on the table here in front of us?
So preparation's key. We run a tub here with an anaesthetic and oxygen to knock the fish out. From there we go to a weigh station where we weigh the fish, onto a measuring table before we shift them onto a surgery table which has a gill irrigation of anaesthetic. We also have our tools laid out, including tags and suture material and scalpels, and then on the other side we have a hand wash and disinfection station.
Well, there's lots of complexity in veterinary acts, and there's lots of complexity in the species that are available to do tagging on, so each species is different, and so it's very important that people involved with these procedures have some sort of formal or informal veterinary training. So in this case, all this work is compliant with animal care and ethics regulations. It's been through animal ethics committees and we're pretty confident.
Okay, so as we can see, it's quite a complex setup. There's quite a bit of equipment here. The first step is to go into the process of programming the tags and make sure the tags are working. So let's head to the first station.